going to turn now to Gene. Gene Martin is a junior here at Plymouth State. He is the junior class vice president. He has been working since he was 14 years old. He has had to take out both scholarships and loans through his own credit to put himself through college. He's had a challenging life story, but now he's majoring in political science. He plans to go to law school, and I know that his mother is very proud of him. And I think that you can see in Gene's story exactly what we expect America to do. His mother, and I have a quote here, from Gene, I always knew I wanted to go to school. His parents did not go to college. He always wanted to be a lawyer and maybe a judge one day. But in order to get to where he wanted to be, he had to get into a four-year college. And he's worked really, really hard to not only attain that education, but to really make the most of it. Gene, you want to share your thoughts with us?
For me, the hardest part of going to school, I was a good person. My parents always instilled those values in me. Go to school, be a lawyer and a judge. I have to go to a four-year institution and go off to law school. For me, the hardest part was actually affording it. And I remember the first time being so afraid. Oh, I hope my parents really are able to help me out. I hope I'm going to get the scholarships. I'm going to get the financial aid I need. The first time my parents had to refinance their house because I didn't have enough money. At the time, I was only 18. I didn't have the credit needed, so I was denied on my own merit. And my parents and I together couldn't get one. So my parents had to refinance their house to pay for the gap and bail on tuition. Luckily, my parents helped me build up my credit. And going in again, I was even more fearful because I had a friend who is a social work major, always wanted to be a social worker all of her life. And she no longer goes to school because she couldn't afford it. So that was my biggest fear. That was going to happen to me. And I remember just being so nervous, on the computer, filling out the hours of paperwork and forms, but thinking, my loan won't go through, I won't be able to secure this, nothing's going to happen. I don't want to work at McDonald's. Can't work in that situation. But luckily for me, I was able to get it on my own credit. And now my biggest concern is after Plymouth, after thousands of dollars of being in debt, going to law school, and having even more debt, which is always a fun thing. But going on, and I want to be a judge, I want to be a lawyer, but I know hopefully I'll be able to make the money to pay this back. That's my biggest concern. Is what happens. The dream is always to go out, find the wife.
Are you advertising?
Actually, no. I have a great girlfriend, Nicole, who just graduated in Disney. There's a lot of debt in his school. But that's the thing for me, to go out and get a house, have a car, because my car isn't the best. Go have that. And that's really my big concern, is going out and how do I afford it?
Well, I hear this a lot, because if you get over the hurdle, like Kim and Ashley are facing that first hurdle, can you afford to get in? Then the second hurdle is, can you afford to stay in? And then the third hurdle is, if you graduate, can you afford to do what you want to do with your life, whether it's graduate school, professional education, the job that you want, because of the debt that you've incurred. Now, I'm a big believer in individual responsibility, and I like it that people have to pay. Like I said, I had to pay for law school and all the rest of that. But I think we've made it really, really hard. And it's so hard now that we are losing young people who could make a great contribution. Now, one of the proposals that I made day before yesterday about retirement security is to create what I call American retirement accounts that you can start putting money into as soon as you start working, and then if you do need money for college or to buy a home or other necessary expenses like that, you can draw it out tax-free. It goes in tax-free, it would come out tax-free for you to be able to use that money. Because we need to create more savings. Part of the reason we're in the bind we are right now about why it's so hard for so many families to afford college is that middle-class incomes have stagnated. The average family in America has lost $1,000 in income the last 6 years. And so here we have people working harder, sometimes 2 jobs, even 3 jobs, but they're not getting ahead while healthcare costs, education costs, and energy costs are all going up. So we've got this perfect storm where everybody's working hard and they're not getting ahead, and we're not making it easier, we're making it harder. So one of the things that I think what I'm proposing will help Gene do is to get more resources to really rely on to be able to go forward. And I wish you well in that. You know, part of the whole point of rebuilding the road to the middle class, trying to make the middle class stronger and more prosperous, is that that is what America is. You know, you can find rich people anywhere in the world. And with all due respect, rich people did not make America great. They've made their contributions, but the people who sacrificed, who fought the wars, who made the economy grow, who did the hard work, have been part of this unique American invention, this huge middle class. Other countries are, you know, following in our wake, and you see them raising the standard of living. But we've been the pioneers, and that enabled generations of Americans to live better than their parents and grandparents. Well, now we are in danger of stalling. And I don't want us to be the first generation of Americans who leave our country worse off than when we found it. And that means we've got to have a new commitment to doing what it takes to get the engine of economic prosperity for all moving again. And I'm confident we can do that. But we've got to help people be able to afford to make some of these life decisions. So I want to thank Kim and Ashley and Jean for sharing their stories. It's not easy coming out with that.
Thank you for coming to Plymouth State. My question also relates to education. My father got laid off 3 days ago from his job. He's a 35-year Teamster truck driver. And so I'll start off with that. My concern is paying for college, absolutely fundamental, great idea. But for me as a student, right now, food and gas are a luxury. I have my car payment in, I work 2 jobs. And it's hard, to be honest. You know, how can we help students not only pay for college, but how can we help them pay for rising costs of gas, textbooks, other issues that just come up in the college career? Thank you.
Boy, how many people can relate to that question? You know, I'm sorry about your dad, and I hope that things turn around for him. You know, when I think about what we need to do to make it possible for more people to start, continue, and graduate, I think we've got to find ways to provide more aid that can be flexible. You know, it's great to pay for the tuition, the room, and the board. And what I propose will give you more resources to do that, which may then enable you to shift some of that money that you're earning on your 2 jobs to do more on your living expenses. But it is still going to be a stretch for some people. And I'll tell you, when I was in school, there were a couple of times when, you know, I had some expenses I couldn't meet. And I went to Wellesley, a women's college outside of Boston, and we had what was called a student aid society. And you could borrow money in an emergency to meet your living expenses with the promise that you would pay it back when it came time to pay it back. You know, you just signed your name, there was no big, you know, checking you out or anything like that. You were a student and you made a promise to pay it back. That helped me out on more than one occasion, I have to tell you. Because like I said, my dad said if I wanted to buy a book, I had to earn it myself. And so I had to occasionally go and borrow money from this student aid society to do exactly what you're talking about, to meet living expenses and other needs. I don't know how many colleges do that, but I think it's something we ought to encourage more people to think about. Secondly,